British Prime Minister Boris Johnson says his government is suspending Parliament until just 2 weeks before Brexit. The suspension would give lawmakers less time than expected to debate Britain's exit from the European Union on October 31st. Now, Johnson has denied criticism that he was trying to prevent a debate, as he said Parliament would be back in session ahead of a key EU summit.
And that is completely untrue. If you look at what we're doing, we're bringing forward a new legislative programme on crime, on hospitals, making sure that we have the education funding that we need. And there will be ample time on both sides of that crucial October the 17th summit, ample time in Parliament for MPs to debate the EU, to debate Brexit and all the other issues.
Let's go right to DW's Birgit Maas. She's standing by for us in London with the very latest. Hi, Birgit. So Boris Johnson now saying that he's going to ask the Queen to suspend Parliament. Tell us what this means.
Well, Boris Johnson shows a lot of determination to get Brexit through. We have to remember that the 31st of October is the deadline. This is when Britain is going to leave the European Union. And Boris Johnson has always maintained that this is going to happen, do or die. He is fearing, his government, the Brexiteers and his government are fearing that Parliament can somehow influence the Brexit process. And we've seen yesterday opposition MPs coming together and trying to come up with a plan in order to prevent Britain just from leaving the European Union at the end of October without any deal with the European Union. And Boris Johnson's government wants to say, well, we have a free hand. We don't want Parliament basically to throw anything in the spanner of the works when it comes to leaving Brexit. Of course, they maintain that this is a normal process. They are now saying they are preparing a Queen's speech, which is a new legislation. But on the other hand, it's not normal that Parliament is suspended during times like this, during Brexit times, when frankly every day that Parliament is sitting counts when it comes to shaping Brexit.
Birgit, I want to make sure I understand this correctly. Does that mean the step that Boris Johnson is taking, that there would be no way to stop a no-deal Brexit on October 31st for lawmakers in Parliament?
Well, Sumi, that is really the big question. In any case, it's very difficult to stop the government in their ways because the opposition MPs have so far not been very strong. They haven't shown the same steeliness as Boris Johnson is now showing. So they were basically trying to find some sort of consensus, some sort of way of coming together. And this is difficult because it involves MPs of many different parties, and they might also need to rely on Conservative MPs to help them. So now what it means is that they have much less time to come up with anything, and they might resort to a vote of no confidence next week. For that, they definitely need Conservative MPs to help them. And what Boris Johnson is doing, he's just increasing the pressure on every side. He's increasing the pressure when it comes to his negotiations with the European Union, because he makes it much more difficult for Parliament to prevent a no-deal Brexit. So he's saying we're really, really serious. We are going to leave. On the other hand, he also leaves Parliament very little time. If he does come up with a new agreement with the EU, if there's anything that can change, then Parliament might have to just say yes to it, and then he might be able to get this agreement with the EU over the line. But it's a really high-risk gamble, and there are many ways that this can fail. So he is really going for it, and opposition MPs are saying he's throwing down the gauntlet to Parliament, that he was the leader of the Leave campaign, which was all about Parliament taking back control. It was about the mother of our Parliament, about the birthplace of democracy, getting power back from the European Union. And now he is actually suspending Parliament so that they cannot disturb him in his way. So that's how the opposition MPs see it. So basically we're going to see really a war here in London when it comes to the government and its relation to Parliament.
And Birgit, we've seen online already some reactions saying this is a dark day for democracy. Tell us more about the reactions to all of this there in London.
Well, from all sides, opposition MPs have expressed their outrage, actually, and exactly with the same arguments. They said we are Parliament, we are sovereign, and you can't just suspend us. And for example, a former government minister, Rory Stewart, he was on the radio this morning and said he actually didn't think that Boris Johnson would dare anything like this, to do anything like this. That was as as close as this morning. But he said if the government does suspend Parliament, then we're just going to meet somewhere else and we are not going to get stopped. So they will try everything they can, and they have to act quickly now in order to prevent the government from basically disabling them.
All right, our correspondent Birgit Maas with the very latest there in London, where the Prime Minister says he has asked the Queen to suspend Parliament until October 14th. Birgit, thank you for that update.